And welcome back to AT11 Day 3. Our next match is Clockwork Pineapple against Surely You're Joking, the first people to bring fireworks, so Fozzie loves them. They have brought a rattlesnake, a double rattlesnake tinker with a Tangu for logistics. And why don't you tell me what Clockwork Pineapple has brought?
So Clockwork has brought a fairly traditional Sleipnir team. It's pretty good setup in this case. It's triple Sleipnir, double Cyclone, Scimitar for reps, and then Kestrels, Merlins, Towars for tackling and support. We see on the side of your screen there the bands they made. Surely You're Joking banned Guardian and Neros, trying to ensure that there were going to be no shield teams against them. And then we've got Clockwork banning the Navy Raven and the Dominix. Dominix being one of, the very common bands. Navy Raven, maybe they're afraid of a kiting cruise missile team, which Navy Ravens can do a good job with.
And that's something that a Sleipnir Rush-esque setup would be susceptible to losing to. As it stands, these Sleipnirs need to get on top of the Surely You're Joking team. They need to, hopefully they have newts with them, and they need to try to get that Tengu down. Since it's only a 3 transfer setup, that being that they only have energy transfers on the rattlesnake and the vulture, the amount of cap pressure that they would need is a lot lower. Predictably, we see Clockwork running across the field, and it looks like Surely You're Joking trying to spread out a little bit.
The bad news for Surely You're Joking is that there's so little damage being applied already to Clockwork. I mean, they needed to take advantage of that time across the field. Surely You're Joking came in at 50 kilometers, the max range you can come to the beacon, and you want to take advantage of that time to get some kills against small stuff, ideally. Maybe the Merlins or the Kestrels would be great ships to kill right off that, or the Towar, which should be super easy, relatively speaking. But instead, they actually got their damage on the Cyclone, but it was already on top of them by the time any significant damage got applied.
There's a good amount of damage going down onto the Tengu for Surely You're Joking, and if that drops, again, it doesn't mean it's the end, but it's usually pretty close to the end, especially because there are so many Cyclone holes on this field right now, putting down good DPS. The Tengu is about to drop, and there it goes.
Now, very, very, very bad piloting mistake for Surely You're Joking in that both the Cyclones are taking damage.
Yes.
So it's likely that these FC for Surely You're Joking said, shoot the Cyclone of so-and-so. Somebody only heard the word Cyclone, decided to shoot the wrong Cyclone. And you saw the amount of damage that Salon there, who's not the proper primary, was taking. And that damage, if it was applied to Spelled in the other Cyclone, probably would have killed him. Because they were both getting really low.
And we've got a tackled Scimitar with no damage being applied to it. I think that Surely You're Joking is just, joking around here, and they didn't actually mean to do this.
Tackle plus damps can work pretty well in a Scimitar for
Tackle plus damps can, absolutely, but they're still being able to apply reps, so it's not working as intended.
No, and meanwhile, all the damage is being applied onto the rattlesnake of Winter's Bone for Surely You're Joking. And again, still the split fire on the Cyclones. This is not the way to do it. They could have killed a Cyclone by now if they were focusing fire. Meanwhile, the Cyclone's probably going to die around the same time as their rattlesnake does, and that's not a good trade.
No, that's a horrible trade, especially when you're talking 1 of 5 damage ships as opposed to 1 of 2. Yeah. So the rattlesnake is getting pretty low in shields. He's probably got ASB cycles for another 15 or 20 seconds. After that, we'll see him drop pretty fast. He can only maybe do 3 or 4 cycles of his ASB off of his native capacitor before he just goes dry.
Yes, so he is still boosting right now, boosting pretty constantly. And, there you go, lots of damage on the Scimitar all of a sudden. So they've got the damage being applied. There you go. Tinnitus in the Scimitar is down. However, all these Sleipnir Cyclones are still going to have their own local reps. We still see a rep bar, the purple bar at the end there for Clockwork Orange. Meanwhile, you can tell that the ASB is on reload for Surely because the purple bar got a lot smaller for Surely You're Joking there.
Yeah.
And now Winterbone is about to die. That is a fine trade, Scimitar for Rattlesnake, considering what they've got left. And their Cyclone have slowed down as well.
Yeah, if they can get this Rattlesnake down relatively quickly, then that's going to mean even less of a tank on Al Talon because he doesn't have that extra energy transfer coming towards him. They do have him webbed. They're not applying a lot of damage yet, but it's starting. As long as I think that if they can live through this without losing more than 1.5 or 2 Sleipnirs, they'll be just fine, especially because they still do have the Cyclone of Spelled Forwards. That's a funny name to go through. But I think the Clockwork Pineapple have a pretty good handle on this match right now.
Yeah, I mean, Spelled is going to go down. He's ASB boosting, but he's going to have to go into reload soon, and he's going to drop pretty quickly looking at the damage he's taking. But meanwhile, the Rattlesnake for Owl is already in half shields, and his ASB has got to be having problems keeping up with it. And at that point, he's just going to be dropped so fast. And the Sleipnirs are going to go down pretty slowly.
So good job with target priority from Clockwork Pineapple. They did the right thing. They went after the Tangu. I'm not sure why they killed the Vigil, but maybe that's just them trolling. They're pretty trolly folk. The Rattlesnake of Owl is about to go into armor. His ASB, I think, is still running for the moment. But as soon as he goes into reload, he won't live. The Cyclone of Spelled Forwards is still alive.
I think he got reload and survived the reload.
Yeah,
and,
it could be.
Now he is just happily sitting there, taking damage still, but repping it just fine. And meanwhile, the Rattlesnake of Owl is into structure, about to go away. That's going to be Sure You're Joking, dropping very quickly and out of the tournament. This is again an elimination match. This is do or die for both teams. Clockwork Pineapple with this victory is going to be moving on to the next round in our very grueling elimination bracket.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you go all the way through the winner's bracket, I believe you only have to win 9 consecutive matches to get to the finals, where if you're going through the loser's bracket, you can potentially do up to 20 matches, I believe is the number that I heard.
Yeah, it would be absolutely huge.
So it's a much, much harder road for the people that do hit loser's bracket, but it's nice to see it. Fellow Syndicate residents, Clockwork Pineapple, making it through this round against Surely You're Joking.
Yeah, it's all the more epic when you're in this elimination bracket, though. If you can make it all the way through, the elimination bracket is this gigantic, like, continuous slog. But if we have a winner that comes from the elimination bracket, that would be a great story, wouldn't it?
That would be a great story. I mean, this bracket is tailored to make great narratives come out.
Yep, so we're going to be seeing just the last 2 ships for Surely You're Joking going down fairly quickly. These Sleipnirs, very popular ships for the tournament, a bit less this year than in previous years. Like 2-3 years back, they were all over the place. The great thing about them is they do a lot of the things you just really need a tournament ship to do. They can provide you gang links to give bonuses to your whole team. They give you the ability to do lots of damage. They can apply to good ranges, and they can move around really well. They can get on top of your opponents. They can run away from your opponents if need be. They just move well, get to wherever you need them to be. And they have great tanks, both with logistics on them and with a local ASB tank. So they're kind of the whole package. They're a very versatile ship, and they can react to a whole lot of things. So right now, the Vulture for Surely You're Joking of Rabid Fanboy there is taking quite a bit of damage and going to be dropping. Vultures are one of the ships that dies the most slowly in the game. A lot of resistances on that ship. It's a ship that's called a fleet command ship, designed to give bonuses to the rest of the fleet. It gives great shield bonuses and stays alive a long time, but doesn't do a lot of damage. So that's why you often see them die last.
Yeah, but it's just a matter of time, and as long as the Harpy doesn't run around for too long, we should be over relatively quickly here.
And yeah, the Merlins and Kestrels might be able to pick them off before too long. We'll have to see how well they can do that. They might want to try to get a tackle on him now. The Vulture of Rabid Fanboy dropping through through shield into armor, and he'll be going down quickly through armor, as Kaldari ships often do. They aren't known for having a lot of armor and structure HP. There it goes. And he'll be disappearing off the field. And now they're just got to chase down that last Harpy, and they'll be good to go. So we've already actually seen a really, really amazing set of matches for this first half. Like way better than I think even we could have expected.
Could have hoped for it. This has been a really good losers bracket. The compositions have been pretty well matched, and we've seen a lot of, like I said, razor edge matches that could have gone either way.
Yep. We've seen a lot of great matches so far. We have 3 more in the first half to go before we take our break for dinner, and for some of you to have lunch in North America. And that's going to be Choke Point versus Razor. It's going to be Hun Reloaded versus Godfathers in a very anticipated match. That's the second place team from AT10 versus the winner of the New Eden, the team that contained the winners of the New Eden Open. Really, really, really anticipated match. And then Angeli Mortis versus End of Life. So those are all going to be some really great matches, I think. We're seeing this Harpy now sitting right on the edge. If he wanted to, he could go past the edge of glory and get himself blown up.
Yeah, 123 kilometers from the beacon.
Yep, so he is sitting right out there, barely moving. There, now he's starting to move. Let's see what he does, which direction he goes. 122. Come on, man, fly out of the arena. Get destroyed by Veritas. One way or another, he's getting tackled. What he might be actually trying to do is bait these other guys out of the arena, which is kind of hilarious tactic to use.
Oh, yes, it worked!
Yes, he did. So he sat right on the edge of the arena. And then as people came in, they overshot him, and then he just like stepped out of the way. It's kind of like a Matador in a bullfight.
Yeah, absolutely.
They sit there, pull out to the side, and they just fly right out of the arena. Excellent.
There are damp effects coming in because that's super important to when you're trying to bait people in from the arena. He's actually looks like he's coming closer in now.
Yeah. So now they're gonna just get some damage on him. That is a fun way to get back at the team that's knocking you out.
Yep.
Do the very embarrassing slip right up past the arena as you're trying to tackle someone. Always fun to see.
Looks
So
like the Kestrels are applying missile damage onto.
I don't know if
the
he's going to
Harpy.
die in the next minute, but one way or another, the match will end in 1 minute.
And he's got tackle on him, so it'll be
Yeah.
over pretty soon.
With Clockwork Pineapple now going to be going through. And for anyone that's, again, hasn't seen this Alliance tournament before, not familiar with the way we do things here, we actually have a arena set up 125 kilometers from a central beacon. If you move out beyond that, CCP Veritas, one of our programmers, reaches out from the Magic Beyond world and destroys your ship. We call it the Edge of Glory. So far, we actually just saw the record for farthest Edge of Glory violation with the micro jump drive from Ice Gorilla earlier today.
Yep.
And a lot of teams have tried to discover what was beyond it, but they've all failed and exploded very, very violently. As we see, 20 seconds left.
Yep. He took the scumbag way out here to prolong the match as opposed to just
Though getting
flying out of
the
the arena. But
getting
it
the Matador kill.
Yes, that
That's
was
stylish
very
right there.
gratifying.
So we're just going to have 5 seconds left. Our next match after this, like I said, is going to be Choke Point versus Razor. So we'll be sending you, as time runs out, back to Soundwave and the guys in the studio, and then you'll be back to us for Choke Point versus Razor in just a few minutes.